red stage. Steel beasts roll a distant wage. Truckers' voices crying through the night. Tales of speed and endless fights. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways call our name. In this life, we find our fame. Neon lights and diner blues. Truck stops where we share the news. Turning wheels in endless miles. Stories fill the smoky aisles. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways call our name. In this life, we find our fame. Neon lights and diner blues. Truck stops where we share the news. Turning wheels in endless miles. Stories fill the smoky aisles. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways.
Open road takes more than just miles to make a truck driver. It takes heart, the heart of a lion. Truck drivers possess the quality that keeps this country moving. Courage, determination, bravery, and inner strength. And that's exactly what you feel when you listen to Patrick Lauro on the Old Country Show. Songs written for the men and women behind the wheel, with stories straight from the heart of America's highways. So tune in, turn it up, and ride with Patrick Lauro, where real country meets real truckers. Patrick Lauro, the sound of the open road. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Truckers Voices. Hey, right there on the screen, it shows my name. My name's Tim Taylor, Tim the Toolman Taylor. And, we're back with another episode tonight. But before we get rolling, I just want to let everybody know that my co-host, Steve, is out tonight. Hey, he had the old trucking monster grab him today, and he had something go wrong with some of his equipment there, so he was kind of stranded there for a little while. But I want to let everybody know that he's going to be listening in, and he may call in here after a while, but we're going to hold the fort down and keep this show rolling strong. And so tonight, we got a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. Joining us tonight is Charles Land from Sunset Logistics. Charles brings experience from behind the wheel and now from the dispatch and the leadership side of the industry. He's got a great story. He's got great insight, and we're so excited to dive into his journey and everything that he's seen in this ever-changing world of the trucking industry. So y'all settle in, grab a cup of coffee, and get comfortable, because we got a great conversation lined up for y'all tonight. So let's get this show started and let's get it on the road. I'm going to bring Charles on in here. Normally I have a little monologue back and forth with Steve-O, but Steve-O's not with me tonight. So we're going to jump right on into the show. So I'm going to bring him in on the champion song like we do everybody else, because if they come on Truckers Voices, hey, they are a champion for sure. Everybody, welcome Charles Land to Truckers Voices. Charles, it's so good to have you on here tonight. Thank you for carving out time. I know that you've had a long day dealing with the trucking industry just as well as some of us have, and it's just great to see you on here. And I've been waiting and excited for this interview with you. So, hey, if you'll just greet the listening audience out there, the men and women of the trucking industry. Some of them's listening live right now, and some of them's listening on the replay. So just tell them who you are, tell them where you're from, and we'll jump right on into it, Charles.
Yes, sir. Tim, thank you for having me. Excited to be here. Feel so honored to be a part of the show tonight. Hey, everybody. My name's Charles Land. I'm the Vice President of Operations out here at Sunset Logistics in Illinois, northwest suburbs of Illinois.
I got you. Well, let's get into you a little bit about your background and your career journey that you've had. So, Charles, let's start with your story and how did you first get into the trucking industry?
You know, I want to say that my interest in equipment and trucks started back when I was a kid. I remember back when we were really young, and I don't even know if my parents know this story. They're probably listening tonight, but my friends and I, we got our hands on a little portable CB radio, and we'd ride our bicycles to the end of the street, a little small country street. They'd go out to a state highway, and we'd sit at the end of the road, and we'd be the kids down there just doing the horn honking and waving at the guys, and we'd take our shirts off and spin them in the air because we were so excited. And the little portable might have went half a mile, and we're talking to the guys and seeing how they were doing, and the drivers that were out on the road. And but from there to operating John Deere tractors on the farm, to fire trucks, to heavy equipment out here in Illinois. Always just been a part of my life.
I got you. Well, you just kind of said something to me right there, and I remember. This is going to sound kind of crazy, but I remember when I was a kid, I had like one of those little portable CB walkie-talkies, right? And for some reason, we had this rack, and it might have been a coat rack, it might have been something else, but I tried to rig up that CB antenna. That's that little hand walkie-talkie to that little CB thing there, and and I actually could hear some of the drivers out there on I-75. I was probably about 4 or 5 miles away from there, maybe. But I might have been back then. I didn't know it, but I might have been catching what they call the skip coming in or something there. But
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that you said that, because that did bring back that memory to me right there. And and as kids, we do remember, when we used to go by the trucks and pull the old, air horn there, and that just brings back great memories. And I still love to see kids come by me and want me to honk the old horn. It doesn't happen as often as it used to, but every now and then you'll see a kid, they want you to honk the horn. Or if you're somewhere and they get up in your truck and they say, "Hey, can I blow the horn?" and that's pretty exciting to them also. So what was the moment that when you first knew that trucking was more than just a job for you?
When I started driving here in Illinois, it was so new, and coming from Southeast Virginia, small town, very, very country, a little dot on the map, to driving a truck through Chicago was quite the challenge. Came with many obstacles, but the camaraderie of the industry and the other drivers was so special. It just brought a passion to me to want to be more than just a safe operable driver. I wanted it to be more than that, and I feel like that drive and passion has led to where I'm at today.
I got you. And so this is a question that pops in my mind here, is that when you first started driving, I kind of want to know how you got your CDL, and did you go through a CDL school, and you don't have to name the companies, but did you do OTR, local, regional, or what?
So I did go to a CDL school, and that was pretty interesting. It was definitely different driving a semi truck from driving like a John Deere 6210R tractor and a fire truck. Um, but we were able to get through that. And then I never did over the road, to be honest. As a truck driver, Sunset was the first professional commercial vehicle job that I had had. Um, so they had taken a chance on me. I met with the safety manager that was here and the management team, and told them a little bit about myself and my background, and they were willing to take a chance on me, and so thankful that they did.
Yeah, and some of the commodity that Sunset Logistics hauls, it's like raw materials. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct. And we're so multifaceted here. We haul aggregate material for the construction industry. We haul waste for all of the garbage industry, to hauling heavy equipment.
I got you. So let's talk a little bit about, how you transition. Well, let me ask you this first. So how long was you a driver? Let me catch this call. It might be Steve. He might want to listen in.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Steve Brand.
Tim Taylor, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. We're going to bring you in on the conversation here, Steve. Can you hear him there, Charles?
I did. Yes, sir.
Okay, Steve. I'm in the middle of a question.
How you doing, Charles?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you doing?
Steve, he said, "How you doing?"
Oh, I'm doing just fine. Doing just fine. Stuck in a hotel tonight, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. We'll go home tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Amen.
Steve, can you hear Charles?
Yeah, I can hear him real good, Tim.
Okay, good. So I'm going to go on with my question here. I just fixing to ask him a little bit about his transition, from being behind the wheel to working as a dispatcher as a company leader. But I did want to ask him the question before that. When you was in the truck there, Charles, at Sunset Logistics and whatnot, was there somebody that kind of took you under their wings and kind of showed you the ropes there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So once I got started, there was a couple of guys. They were about my age. A lot of the truck drivers that I was working with at that time, they were great. A lot of good advice. I think they all really took me under their wing and gave good guidance, open to train. And those days start super early. The sun's not up yet. We're getting in the truck. We're heading out to the pits to get loaded. We're getting to the construction sites. And those guys really looked out for me. Driving in the pits in the dark can be super challenging. They'd get on the phone with me, kind of guide me through backing up to the piles and getting through the job sites, and especially navigating the streets of Chicago. We'd get on our Bluetooth devices and we would talk throughout most of the day. Some of the just best days, hauling loads and talking to my fellow drivers. Some of the greatest times that we had. One of the sites that I went to, I ended up on this job by myself. It was one of my first days being out on myself, and they sent me to this job where I got to cut across 4 lanes of traffic back into this really narrow opening and then jackknife to my dump spot.
Yeah.
And the foreman's there, and I'm like, sir, I'm going to be honest. I've never done this before, but I'm going to give it everything I got. And this guy was so great. He was like, what's your name, son? I said, well, my name's Charles. He said, Charles, you hang tight right quick. Don't move. And he went and got all the other workers on the site, and they went out into the traffic, and they all put their hands up, and they had stopped all 4 lanes of traffic and got me back into the job site. So that was super cool. And another awesome memory. It's embarrassing, but I have to tell it on myself. So I end up on this other job site, and the owner of the company is out there. And it was a line of trucks. We were waiting to back into the site and dump. Another one of those jackknife into the site situations on the passenger side. And the truck before me was struggling. forward, backwards, forward, backwards, forward, backwards. And they got operators on the site, and you can imagine the money. And the owner of our company is out there, and I'm next. And I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, well, I can't do as bad as the first guy did. So I was feeling pretty good. But I pull forward, and I go back into the site. And I'd made the same mistake. I turned too sharp, got a little crooked. And that was when the owner came up, and he was like, hey, son. He's like, let me get in there and show you how it's done. And that was actually the owner that I work for today. That was Donnie. And he gets in the truck, and of course he pulls it up, and then, backs it in perfectly into the site. And, I'm hanging my head down. But I know that's a story that him and I will never forget.
Yeah, kind of licking your wounds there just a little bit, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna give Steve a chance to jump in here. Steve, do you have a question ready to go, brother?
Yeah, I believe we do. Let's see, trying to figure out where we're at here, and
Yeah, well, I hadn't talked to him yet about the transition from being a trucker into the dispatch role. So if you wanna go with that one there, Steve, go with that one, man.
yeah, let's go with that one. Charles, tell us about your transition from being behind the wheel to working as a dispatcher and a company leader.
Yeah, yes, sir. So I had been driving for the company for a couple years, and this is so like unexpected. It really was, the Lord's plan and all of this. Never knew that it would come to this. And I'd been driving with the company for a couple years, and the season had slowed down. It was a rough winter, a lot of snow. So I was laid off at the time, and I have a wife, I have several children that I got to provide for, and an opportunity had come up, and I was asked, hey, Charles, would you like to come work in the office? I was like, you guys would consider that. I feel honored that you would even give me a chance to do that. And so I came in the office and really just started doing administration work, compliance, setting up drivers, putting things in the right bucket, to starting to take calls and talk to customers. But then when I really got to start dispatching and setting up the routes for the drivers, and I think coming from driving a truck and understanding what those drivers are going through all day, the long hours, the challenges, the sacrifices, and being away from their families, and what it's like when you're on a day where you're not loaded and not being ran strategically and efficiently. And I remember how that felt and what I would want from a dispatcher. So once I worked my way up into a dispatch manager role and really working with the drivers and setting their routes, I felt like there was such an understanding, and a lot of the guys that I had driven with still were driving here. And I think there was a respect level, because they knew that I had an understanding of what they were going through every day. And they knew that when I was a driver, I was one of the guys that I wanted to be at the pit first. I'd get to the pit probably 2 hours before it would open. I'd stay there at the gate, take a little nap, drink a little coffee, pit opens, and I'm off to the races. And when I was dispatching, I was the same way. I'd give it everything that I got to help the guys and girls that were driving trucks, to give them the best days that I possibly could. And that went really well. I enjoyed it very much, to becoming logistics supervisor, overseeing other dispatchers and the routes that they were creating. And I remember the owner of the company coming to me, and he said, Charles, every challenge that you come across, like you excel. He's like, do you want more challenges? And I said, well, yes, sir. So then I started recruiting. I started actually going to all the CDL colleges in the area and just speaking with all the CDL students and telling them how great it is being a truck driver, how great it is being in this industry, the pride, the passion, how rewarding it could be. And before you know it, we're getting all these applicants, and like the culture and growth was thriving. So then he comes to me again. He's like, well, Charles, do you want another challenge? And I said, well, yeah, bring it on. I love a challenge. So so our company is multifaceted. We've got the aggregate pits and we've got the trucking. So at that time, he sent me out to oversee this insanely massive demolition job. There was a large area of multiple buildings that had to be demoed and then crushed. They were going to crush all the demoed buildings into an aggregate that could be used on the site, and it was all over the news. It was a massive deal here in Illinois, and he had me oversee that site. And I remember getting out there and seeing this 100,000-ton monster that I had to face, and thankfully I had great team, great support. Did really well on that job, and after that was complete, he looked at me again and he said, well, Charles, what do you want to do now? I said, well, I want to run everything. So here we are.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. As a driver, and you just kind of told us a while ago, maybe one of your most memorable experiences as a driver was probably when you was trying to back it in there, and Donnie had to come in there and straighten it up for you. Is that your most memorable, or do you have another story about that?
I'm definitely gonna carry that one, and definitely that one on that job site where those guys came out, and I was nervous, and I'm looking at all these busy streets, and those guys came out and they were like, son, you got it. We're gonna stop the world for you. You're gonna make this happen, and all those guys going out there with their hands up. And then something else that I think is so cool is I think about what I was saying earlier about being a kid and going down to the end of the street and asking the truck drivers to honk their horn. I get teary-eyed driving down the road, and I see, I got to be the guy that was actually honking the horn for the kids. So
yeah,
that was always really cool to me.
Yeah, that is cool. Steve, go ahead, Steve. I want to give you a chance, Steve. I know we got a little delay with you there, Steve, but go ahead.
Okay. What's something that you miss about life out on the road?
I don't think I could say that I have to miss it. I feel like I'm so a part of being a part of the drivers and what they're doing every day that I still feel like I'm driving forward every day with the same passion and the same drive and the camaraderie that I still have with the drivers. I went around today and went to a few locations, saw some customers, and seeing all of our drivers and interacting with them and waving and talking to them and spending time with them, and the things that we do every day that makes their life better, their careers better, safer. I don't feel like I'm detached from that. I feel like I'm still very much a part of being behind the wheel, as not driving the semi, but driving the company. So no, I love the position that I'm in, and that I still, get that opportunity to be involved with all the drivers that we have.
Yeah, and being a dispatcher, Charles, you know, is there a bridge there between the driver and operations? And I guess is what I'm trying to say is, what's the most rewarding part of that role, the bridge that you have there between you and the drivers?
The most rewarding has got to be all the great improving things that we've been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. There's dispatching is not easy. Driving a truck is not easy, and the drivers are doing the best that they can, and the dispatchers are doing the best that they can, and the most rewarding part is when everybody wins. I think about like the improvements that we've been able to make over the past couple of years of some of the work that we've been able to obtain for our drivers, the equipment upgrades that we've made for our drivers. We just acquired 41 brand new semi trucks that with a lot of safety equipment, blind spot indicators, front collision sensors. We invested in cameras for the drivers, give them a sense of comfort that we've got dash cams and side cams. And just hearing the guy, the drivers coming up and making comments like my life is so much better being here. Thank you guys for this. It's changed my life. It feels amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be rewarding. And, whenever you have, you got their respect and they have your respect too. And that's got to be a rewarding part of it. Go ahead, Steve.
I got another question for you here that might do some clarifying. What is the biggest misconception drivers have about dispatchers?
Good question, Steve.
That's a good question. It's a very good question. It's not easy. It's really not easy. And I know here we take so much pride and passion about the service that we provide, not only to our customers. I mean, yeah, we want to serve our customers well. And I know here at Sunset Logistics, that is what we pride on, is serving our customers well, but not only that, but serving our drivers. And it's not always easy to meet customer demands and needs, requests and changes. It comes up and it happens, and we try to always maneuver in an efficient, strategic way that is the best for the driver. And for the customer. So, but there are those instances that come up and it doesn't always make sense. And I've ran into these situations when I was a driver and dispatcher's asking me to do something. And I'm like, dispatcher, I know I can go over here. I can do this. But we don't all, as a driver, we don't always understand what's going on behind the scenes and what changes did happen and that the dispatch team had to maneuver to. So I know here at our company, we really try to do the best we can every single day, put our best foot forward every single day. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy. And we understand that it's not easy for the drivers either.
Right. And Steve's had a tough day today out there on the road. Steve had some mechanical problems, and he's had to talk to dispatch today too. So,
Man.
So Charles, whenever you have a day like that with a driver, and the driver on the other end is kind of having a rough day, how do you look at that? Do you try to put yourself in his position still?
Yeah, absolutely. There's those unforeseen things. After treatment issue, tire issues, traffic accidents, weather. It's trucking. It's so tough. I remember, talking with the drivers when I would do the recruiting seminars at the colleges, and I'd tell them, you never foresee what your day is going to be, and what obstacles could come your way. You want to hope that you're going to come in and you're going to do your shift and you're going to get as many miles as possible and not have to slow down. But those things do happen, and that's where just understanding what the driver's going through. Not every conversation is ever, just about business. Sometimes you just got to be a listening ear and listen to the frustration that they're going through, because it's out of their hands. You want things to go so perfect, but then you get mechanical things that go wrong that you can't foresee, and it just messes up your whole day. And sometimes just having that understanding, listening, encouraging ear, like, hey, these things are going to happen. We're going to get up. We're going to dust off. We're going to move forward. Here, we maneuver. We're so innovative here. Think outside the box. Relationships with several service centers. We do anything and everything we can to keep those drivers moving at all times.
Yeah, no doubt. So, what's one of, if you had to explain to me how you approach to building trust and good communication between the dispatcher and driver, how would you explain that to me?
Building those relationships it's honesty, transparency, good communication. dispatch isn't always perfect. We do everything we can every day to be perfect. Good routes, strategic routes, but we're gonna miss. You know, our batting average isn't always going to be 1,000, and
Right.
just being honest to the whys. You know, I think at times the whys aren't explained, and that's where the confusion comes from. Well, this is why we had to do what we did, and having them be a part of the decision as well. And I think it's the respect. You know, there's no superiority complex between dispatcher and driver. The dispatch is working with the customers and setting up the routes the best as possible, and the driver's doing everything he can to fulfill those routes and those hauls in a safe and efficient manner. So I think respect between driver, dispatcher, driver, and the honesty and open communication is what really forms those bonds. And like I was saying earlier, it's that communication doesn't always have to be about the route. You know,
Right.
sometimes it's the driver's going through something. Sometimes the dispatcher's going through something, and having the respect for each other to hear each other out, open communication, it strengthens both of us.
Absolutely. All right. Go ahead, Steve.
Exactly. So, you know, you saying all that to keep the drivers happy and everything. As a company, you have customers. Customers have expectations, as well as the company has goals and expectations. And how hard is it to balance those company goals and expectations while keeping the drivers happy and letting them know you still support them?
Tim, you brought Steve. Steve brings the tough questions.
You're right. Right.
There, got it. That's a good one. That's another good one. You know, honestly, listening. Trying to meet company goals, trying to keep drivers motivated. I think some of the things that we've done here, it really helps. Having nice equipment, safe equipment that they feel comfortable driving in. They know that those trucks are getting serviced on time. They're getting AVIRs, that any needs that they need are going to be provided for when they're at home or out of the truck. Knowing that they got a dispatch team that's there by their side for whatever happens, that we're there to answer that call, no matter what time it is, provide support, and do everything that we can to get them back up and running or find another load to keep them busy. But I think listening to and collaborating. I remember when I was first dispatching and there was a bunch of new routes that I was trying to learn, the drivers would give a lot of good insight. And I remember one of the compliments that I would get so often was, thank you for listening. That it wasn't just the company's way. It wasn't just the dispatch way. It was, you're listening. And I would always tell them, you drivers are on the road every day. You see the routes. And it's your ideas that will help us get better. So I think listening, communicating, and collaborating with the team, having everybody involved in the decisions is what makes things go smoother.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so, you know, as a former driver, and well, you know what? Let me rephrase that. You're always a driver, okay? So as a driver, but moving into the driver, you know, the dispatcher role, how has that experience helped you become a better leader and a better, you know, a better dispatcher?
Just the understanding of what truck drivers go through every day. Truck driving is it's not easy. It is a very challenging position. I think society really forgets just how difficult it can be to be a truck driver. It takes such a mental focus for every hour that you're on the road. It is constantly being vigilant of who is around
That's right.
you, your
Yeah.
surroundings. and it is a lot of pressure, and truck drivers take such pride in the way that we drive and being safe. And unfortunately, it's always the truck driver. Man, I'm stuck behind the truck. All right,
Yeah.
well, we're going slow and safe, or he's still in my way. To man, that truck's going too fast. Well, it, it's really hard to the billboards that hurt by a truck.
Yeah.
Call this lawyer.
Right.
But truck drivers are working so hard to service this great country, and the service that we provide of hauling everything, every material, commodity, piece, whatever it is, had to get from point A to point B somehow. And majority of the time, that is because of the trucking industry, and that gets like convoluted in the message of trucks, this and that. But providing that great service, and it takes physically and mentally. By the end of the day, you're tired, because you are an 80,000-pound machine traveling down the road, and you're keeping every soul that is driving around you safe, and being perfect, and you're being perfect with a 60-foot long, 50-foot long
Right.
machine maneuvering around people that just want to get around you and fly by you. And it's the truck driver that keeps all the other drivers safe on the road. So just having that understanding and knowing what the drivers are going through, I think has really helped me just have that understanding when dispatches are changing, or unforeseen things are coming into their day, and being able to relate.
Right, and that's a very good point. And if everybody would just would take the time to realize that anything that we have at some point in time somehow has been touched by a truck, right?
Yes, sir.
We're trying to get their groceries to these shelves. We're trying to get their clothes to the store. What they need is on that truck that they're frustrated with. But
Yes.
yeah, I'll throw it back to Steve.
Yeah, with that being said, I always say if everybody would just take a deep breath and step back one step and slow down and share the road with each other, everything would just fall in place. But that's hard for people to understand. They gotta go. But when Charles, when you talk to new drivers and you're giving them a piece of advice or several pieces of advice, what do you most often find yourself repeating, because that's the best advice to give them?
Yeah, absolutely. The most important thing that I know that I repeat so often to our truck drivers, our heavy equipment operators, is take your time. Slow down. You're gonna get competent. You're gonna get comfortable. But you don't have to rush into being fast, or being the driver with the most miles, or the driver with the most loads. It's about learning your equipment. And I think the thing that I'll tell them the most is respect that piece of equipment. Um, do not take it for granted. You are responsible for your life. You're responsible for the lives that are around you, and your family wants you to come home at the end of the day. And that is a dangerous machine that you are responsible for. So I believe it's the safety aspect of it, of reminding them that, yeah, there's all these safety things that are in place today. You got all these alarms and sensors and cameras and all these things. But if you don't take your time and operate that machine with respect and safety, something can happen.
That's right. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So to kind of staying on that line, Charles, what's some of the biggest challenges do you think that drivers face today? What's some of the things that they have to deal with? Some of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, a little bit of what I was touching on earlier is just that, a lot of the convoluted message of truck drivers, and the unsafety of being on the road these drivers are giving it everything they got. The sacrifices that they make every day. I mean, Steve's away from home tonight, and
Yep.
and that happens. And there's many drivers that are on the road tonight. And they have a son, they have a daughter, they have a wife, they have parents. Someone could be sick and in the hospital. You don't know what everyone's going through, but they're out there making those sacrifices every day, driving those miles, and sitting all day in that truck. It takes a lot of strength, emotionally, mentally, physically. And then as you're doing this, you got drivers that are in such a hurry to get around you, and the pressure of and making sure all of your equipment is maintained appropriately, and doing good proper pre-trips and post-trips, and checking and staying on top of the maintenance on your machine. And it's a lot of pressure out there for these drivers. It makes it tough.
Yeah, and I think about it often that, and Steve and I, we mention it that we are road drivers. Steve and I, we're road drivers, and but we do recognize that we do have city drivers out there that pick up the freight for us and delivers the freight. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have any freight to haul on the line haul side of this thing. And I do want to say, and Steve's listening to me on the phone. I've had this happen. Like Steve had this breakdown today. It cost him a whole lot of time, but I've had that breakdown before, and when it's dark like this, it reminds me of when I used to have to drive at nighttime. And I'm appreciative of those drivers that are out there that's hauling the freight to, wherever they're going. It might be the hub system, might be, just across the United States, but they're hauling it at nighttime. And that's a different beast because, it takes a lot to stay up all night, and drive and get your proper rest. And, the body's not made to, stay up all night like that. And so you got to do what you got to do. But I'll hush there. Steve, I can kind of hear him back there. He's wanting to get in there.
Well, I got another one for you that's kind of related
Oh boy.
to me as a driver, Charles. How do you help drivers stay motivated when they have a bad day, or they're dealing with broken equipment, or
Steve, hold
they
on.
got tough loads, or hey man,
Hey, Steve, let me ask you, are you not motivated tonight?
I'm motivated, baby. I'm motivated because I am the best podcast on the computer right now. I am so motivated and get to talk to a good man like Charles. But I'm just curious, because drivers have bad days, and how do you keep them motivated? Because they just kind of get to the point they just want to throw their hands up and say, I'm done, I'm finished.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've had those scenarios for those unforeseen things, and you get the driver and he has these unfortunate events, and I've seen it where you get the truck fixed, they get back on the road, and they get a few miles down the road and they have another problem, and it just gets so frustrating. And I can totally relate and understand. I've been on this side of the road a few times. I think to keep the motivation is really just hear them. There was times that these drivers would be so upset for something that was going on, and just having the understanding. And I think that's a big key to it. Taking that call, and I'm away from my family, and I want to finish this run. I want to get home, and having that understanding, and just reassuring them that you're there with them. They're not alone. I'm going to support you all the way through this. I'm right here with you, and I'm not going to stop working for you and helping you to get you where you want to be. And unfortunately, if it's a hotel for a night, Steve, I know that definitely sucks. But I'm going to do everything in my power to get you set up so we can get you back home ASAP. I think it's having that care and that passion for the drivers, and they'll recognize that for somebody who truly cares what they're going through, and that you're going to do everything you can to do the best for them.
So
Amen, my friend. Amen.
So let's move into this portion of it. I want you to kind of talk a little bit about Sunset Logistics. We're talking about your company insights and all that. So what's something that Sunset Logistics does really well that makes it stand out from other carriers?
This place is absolutely amazing. The service that we provide here is I'm going to go the extra mile. If you could ever walk in this building, one of the first lines that you're going to see on the wall is "We rise by lifting others," and that is so true. If you look at our phrase "rise," respect, innovation, safety, and excellence. Those values are driven and driven to the core, and it starts at the top. Any company, it really comes from the top. And having an owner like Donnie, who is so passionate, and the love that he has for people, it is true, real love and passion to serve well. Sunset will drive so hard to make sure that its customers, its employees, everyone here succeeds. No one's treated any differently. And like from the guy or girl, or the driver that's their very first day, to the driver that's been here for 25 years, you're treated with such love and respect. I think I would have to say that the service and just for the care of people would be um, the greatest things about this company.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Sunset Logistics, I mean, it sounds like they're a great company. And what I know of Donnie and Jen, they're a great team. They work together, and the company is just family oriented. And I guess that goes to tell you that, hey, there's a great support system there. Uh, and do you think that every driver realizes that when they come into that company that, hey, this is a company I want to work for, and I have a good support system here. I mean, I know how you're going to answer, but I'm going to let you answer it anyway.
Yeah, yes, sir. I think from the very moment that you hit the front gate and you come down the hill, you can't help but see it. You look at the equipment, and it's top of the line, brand new equipment with every safety feature that you can think of, and that comes with cost. But it's worth the cost, knowing that these drivers have additional layer of safety. We want to do everything that we can to make sure that they're going to get home every single night. To when you get to the building, you wouldn't see a place like this anywhere else. And when you come in, especially the owner, or Donnie, his wife, they're going to come up and they want to talk to you. They want to know about you. There's such a passion to know you, and that trickles all the way down to the driver there, or employee that's on their very first day. You can't miss it, and it's so innovative. The company wants to be. It is great at so many things. So you look at the cleanliness, the support, the innovation, the growth. I mean, the Lord is doing wonderful things here at Sunset.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Steve.
How is with all the modern technology and everything and all that, how has that changed dispatching and in the communication since you started?
So at the very beginning, installing this equipment on the trucks, it's something new, and there was people received it differently. Oh man, there's going to be cameras on my truck. You're tracking my truck, and well, wait a minute, what does that mean? What are you watching? um, but having the education to say that this is going to protect you. This is here to help you. This is here to make us better. We can take those GPS tracking and look at our loop times and make us better at our quoting. We can take that GPS and get better at dispatching, knowing where the trucks are. Are they loaded? Are they empty? Who's closest to the job? How are those loop times on that job? Did we quote it appropriately? The driver's success is really dependent on the company's success. So being able to calculate these things and pull that data And with how competitive the markets are today, you think of the price of diesel fuel, the cost of insurance, the cost of equipment and repairs and tires. It is so challenging, and freight rates are really tough. Having that, analytic data that we can use to give us just enough of an edge on our competitor to keep our guys rolling, keep our guys busy at all the time. And then the cameras have like uh, cleared up so many instances. There's been accidents that have happened, and officers get on scene. They're doing their investigation, and hey, we have footage of this accident, and our driver didn't do anything wrong. And we've been able to prove so many times that our drivers were doing a great job, or had their hands on the steering wheel, were looking forward, and following traffic signs. And it's helped us in so many cases now. And I believe the drivers have recognized, like, hey, this really is a good thing, that especially if anything terrible was to happen, that this is going to prove that I was doing my job. I was doing a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Right.
with that said, how would you personally define success in your current role? What makes you successful? And at the end of the day, you can say, "Hey, I've had a successful day."
It would be to see everyone on my team win. Um, the drivers, my dispatchers, my operators, my project managers, mechanics, that everybody wins and that everybody's growing. Watching these drivers get on some of these new runs and in this new equipment, seeing the excitement on their face, seeing them bring their kids in, and their kids climbing up in the trucks, and they're taking pictures, and they're having more kids, and they're buying new vehicles, and they're just really excelling. Watching their growth, watching my team grow and want more and thinking outside the box. I love it. I love every minute of it. I was getting some messages earlier from one of my dispatchers, and she was really starting to think outside the box, and like, hey, we can do this, we can do that. And it's so refreshing. I love the ideas, and that we've got a team that's passionate enough that they're putting in the effort to want to make things better every day for everybody. So to me, everybody gets home safe. No one gets hurt. We get back. We all go home to our families. We're all provided for, and we're able to provide for others. Seeing the wins and the excitement and the growth on all of my team members, that's a successful day to me.
I got you. I got you. And yeah, that's a very good answer and good explanation of it. I do have a follow up question on that. If what would you want a driver to? Let's just say if I was, to come to your hometown there, and I was to run into one of your drivers, and I say, "Hey, what is it like working for Sunset Logistics?" What would you hope that he or she might say?
I would hope to hear that Sunset Logistics really cares about me as a person and an individual, that I am recognized and I am known by who I am, not by what I do. I'm not seen as I'm a truck driver that hauls loads. I want to be seen as my name is Charles Land, and I have a wife, and I have children, and I have ambitions and dreams, and that I'm working for a company that recognizes that, and wants the best for me, and wants the best for my family, and wants me to be in the best equipment possible and the safest equipment possible. Um, that would be cherishing to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're going to move into a fun and personal side with just a couple questions because we're coming up to the top of the hour. I'm telling you, man, this time goes by really fast. I didn't know how it was going to work out tonight, but it's worked out just right. But before we move into those questions, I do want to give Steve the opportunity to ask one last question.
Hmm. 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 How do you personally define success in your current role?
I guess it would have to kind of coincide with the last answer. It's just seeing the growth of everybody, seeing the company being healthy, being safe. if we could go to our safety score and have no accidents and no work comp claims, that we weren't having misses, that we didn't just perform a service on a truck that went and broke down because we missed something, a U-bolt, or there was cracking spring hangers, or whatever the case may be, that, that every day we're safe, there's no accidents, there's no injuries, that everybody is growing and thriving and doing well. And we're doing it. And there's so much more to come. There's so many exciting things coming up for the company, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Right,
That's yeah. So I want to ask you this question right here, and we're getting ready to post trip the show. How about that?
All right.
This is what we call the post trip part of the show because we're coming up on the top of the hour. So do you ever get the old itch to get back in there and put the keys in and drive the truck, or do you do that? Do you get behind the wheel sometimes?
That's funny. So when we bought those 41 new semi tractors, the I had worked really hard with Trans Chicago. It's a great dealer here in Illinois. I'm so thankful for those guys and all the support that they gave us and building this truck. We were running Mack trucks, and we made the switch over to Freightliner, and Trans Chicago and their team over there did a really great job helping us build this brand new truck. And I remember it was coming time to put those trucks to work, and I wanted to make sure that it was going to be exactly what we were hoping it would be for the drivers. So when the first truck hit the lot, we hadn't stickered it, we hadn't plated it. I took off running. I jumped in it, I hooked to a trailer, and off I went. I wanted to know how it ran, how it pulled. Thankfully, it was raining and muddy out that day, so I was challenging it, and it ran so great. And I enjoyed every second of being back behind that wheel. And I remember flagging down two guys, two drivers that I had actually hired years prior, and I said, "Hey guys, come jump in this truck. We're going for a ride." And all three of us piled up in the truck, and we went for a ride, and they were like, "Man, we love this." And I was like, "Thank you."
Oh, that's an awesome story. Before we actually go off the air, Steve's going to ask one more question, and then we'll close out the show with a word of encouragement and a word of safety to our listening audience and drivers alike. I do want to say to Donnie and Jen, thank you for allowing you to come on. I know they're going to be listening to this, and happy anniversary to them for sure right now. And
25 years.
Yes, happy anniversary.
yeah. But Steve, go ahead, and then we'll get ready to close the show out.
All right. I've been good about putting you on the spot, so I'm gonna put you on the spot on the last question, my friend. Who or who's been the most influence or a mentor in your trucking journey?
Oh yeah, Steve, and those good questions. Oh man, first, the Lord has been so great to me, Tim and Steve, and I've been through a lot in my life, and I'm just so thankful for the blessings that He has given me to come here. None of this was planned. None of this was Charles Land. I didn't do any of this. The Lord blessed me and guided me into this company, and working for the most amazing people that I had ever met. And my wife has been so great and so supportive, and has stood by me through thick and thins and ups and downs, and my children. I'm just a very blessed a man. But to say who's been the biggest influence and mentor, and I can tell you, this is not because I know Donnie's going to watch this. This is so true that he's one of the greatest men I have ever met in my lifetime. His love and passion for people, it's not even something that you can explain. He loves so true and real, and his passion to see people succeed is just so incredible. To watch him just the way that he interacts with everyone that comes and across his path, from the person who's on their first day sweeping the floor to the CEO of a major corporation, everyone's treated the exact same, and he wants to serve so well, and he runs so hard, and he loves his family, he loves his children, God-fearing man. It's kind of man that you don't meet anymore. One of the very few in the world, one of the greatest people I've ever met, and to think that he started in a six-wheeler. You know, he was driving a six-wheeler truck, and then he got more six-wheelers to a fleet, to the company where it's at today. It is so incredible. It is the true American dream, and I feel blessed that I'm even a part of his journey. You know, just to see like all of these things come to life for him, and what he's made come to life for so many people. One of the greatest. He's so smart, and he challenges people, but it's challenges that make you better and want to be better, and it drives you. And then it gets contagious, and everyone around you do the same, and you challenge, but it all starts at the top. And I'm thankful for him. I'm thankful for all these opportunities. I'm having the time of my life. But man, Donnie Mueller and his family and his wife, incredible people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
And from Steve and I tonight, we want to thank your family, because I know that you're away from home right now. You got about a 30-minute drive to go back home, but we want to thank your wife and whoever's watching your children right now. Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. God bless them. Love them all.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Steve, we're going to let you go off the phone, Steve. But before you go off the phone, tell the listening audience, a word of encouragement and a word of advice there, Steve-O.
Man, y'all stay true, stay safe, stay happy. And remember, the most important trip is a trip home.
Amen. Steve, truck safe. I'll talk to you sometime tomorrow. And, man, get yourself some rest. You've had a long day, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you, Tim. I wouldn't, if I could get on the show, I was going to make it happen, and we made it happen. And Charles, thank you for telling your story. Thank you for coming on the show. Don and Jen, thank you for referring him to us, and everybody stay safe and have a blessed evening.
Absolutely. Whether you know it or not, Steve, your face was on the screen. I put your picture up there.
Them poor people had to look in the picture. Oh my gosh.
All right, brother. See you later. Bye-bye.
Y'all take care. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
See you. Well, that's Steve, my co-host. He's normally right up here on the screen with us. He helps me out a lot. And sometimes when I can't think of what to say, Steve can fill in the blanks there for me. So we make a good team together. And anyway, but Charles, a word of advice and encouragement, to any driver out there or somebody is thinking about maybe getting into this trucking industry. What would you say to them?
It's a great industry. There's so much opportunity out there, and there's so much passion. The passion and fire of truck drivers, it's still alive. It is such a rewarding industry, rewarding career. A lot of pride in trucking, and to all the truck drivers that are out there, thank you so much for what you do every day. The sacrifices that you make. America cannot be great without you, and I don't think you hear it enough. Thank you so much for all the hard work that you do every single day. You get up, you keep the roads safe, you keep our communities thriving. Thank you. Drive safe. Get home soon, and God bless.
All right. Well, thank you, Charles. And if you could just hang tight until we go off the air, I'll talk to you on the other side of this, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for tonight's episode of Truckers Voices. A big thank you to our guest, Charles Land, for hanging out with us and sharing his stories. And, of course, a shout-out to my co-host, Steve. Steve, for calling in there. We know where he's at tonight, and he's probably out there somewhere right now trying to figure out how to solve the world's problems, or trying to remember where he left his coffee at or something like that. But to all the drivers out there listening while y'all driving, whether you're listening to us live or listening to us on the replay, we appreciate y'all. And y'all remember, keep the shiny side up and the greasy side down. And if your GPS tells you to turn into a lake, please don't do it. We need you back here right next week on Truckers Voices. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for laughing with us. Thanks for being a part of Truckers Voices family. And y'all stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll catch you next time on Truckers Voices. Good night, everybody.
I've been going all week in a semi truck. I'm doing anything I can to try to get back home. See the woman I love and the babies I miss. It's tough all over, no I can't pretend. And then I'm gone again. Well, it's tough all over, I see it every day. A good man working hard to try to earn a decent wage. There's a struggle everywhere, don't matter where you've been. And then I'm gone again. I ain't saying nothing you ain't already heard. When you're a man on the road, you gotta take the word. When I leave out of town, I tell my babies I'm sorry, 'cause they don't understand that I'm working for them.
Open road takes more than just miles to make a truck driver. It takes heart. The heart of a lion. Truck drivers possess the quality that keeps this country moving. Courage, determination, bravery, and inner strength. And that's exactly what you feel when you listen to Patrick Lauro on the Old Country Show. Songs written for the men and women behind the wheel, with stories straight from the heart of America's highways. So tune in, turn it up, and ride with Patrick Lauro, where real country meets real truck.